Welcome to today's session about business benefit of edge computing and how SUSE can help you leverage its potential. We're glad you joined in our session today, so please meet your hosts. My name is Bettina Bessermann. I'm business strategist and part of the pre-sales team in the DACH region, and together with my colleague Jörg Bunse, we will be discussing and trying to explain why you should consider edge computing as a means to increase revenues and improve customer experience, and more so, what SUSE has in stock to support you on that. Jörg, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Bettina. Yeah, a warm welcome from my side as well. And as Bettina already mentioned, my name is Jörg Bunse. I'm a sales engineer with SUSE. And yeah, we're working together in the same team.
Great. So, in today's agenda, we're going to talk about edge computing, or what edge computing does for the business and how it differs from a traditional IT process.
Yeah, and we want to talk about how edge computing and the applications for edge computing are the number one drivers for the digital transformation. And well, more important for us, we want to talk about how SUSE addresses edge and how we can help our customers to go into the edge.
Yeah, and last but not least, we also want to emphasize that edge computing needs the collaboration of many partners to create a solution to your individual use case and often even specific to your industry requirements. And we will give you at the very end a live example to make the statement a little bit more vivid. But last but not least, we also hope that in the next 30 to 40 minutes, these are informative and hopefully a bit entertaining. Okay, edge is all around you. Yes, edge computing exists since quite some time, whether as a compute power on your wrist, where you monitor your health or improve your fitness through a fitness plan. So you're jogging while the watch is used as a streaming device and you monitor your heart rate at the same time. This is all very normal to some of us, and but we did not reflect that this is actually already edge computing to some extent.
Yeah, exactly. We're using edge devices all the time, and we wouldn't call them edge devices. If you're thinking of ordering, let's say, a burger at McDonald's at a kiosk in the shop, or instead of using a reception in a low budget hotel, using a kiosk to check in and check out.
Yeah. And another example we have here is agriculture. Agriculture is actually using edge to a big extent to, for instance, measure humidity of the soil or the crop to decide when best to harvest. There's actually many examples from many different industries, and we will talk about them in the course of this presentation. But here, this is to show you that the evolution of edge computing in our daily life has already happened. And in a bigger dimension, the transformation in IT leads also to more computing at the edge. Actually, you could even talk about, an interdependence between digital transformation and edge computing, as edge computing transforms the industries when it is applied. But now let's have a look at the motivational aspects for building edge computing strategies in IT. So what are the metrics that make computing classified as edge computing? To get to the answer to these questions, we have to look back how most companies handled cases where data was generated somewhere out in the field. In general, this fits to our three examples we just explained, but they have some things in common. First thing is that, there's an event that happens and you collect data when it happens, and you transfer the data to a computing device, and you do the number crunching, and you decide on changes to your fitness plan, for instance, and then you execute on your revised plan. So in IT language, there are actually four kind of latencies attached to the process, getting from an event to the effective counter manage: data latency, analysis latency, decision latency, and execution latency. And now attach a time and business value access to the picture and draw a line how business value or competitive advantage decreases the longer your process takes to act on something happening. This underlies how speed and agility are key factors for the success of enterprise businesses in an increasing competitive and fast changing world. Let's take another example that also addresses why time is so important. Think of harvesting a wheat field throughout a long day, changing weather conditions in the beginning, in the early morning when humidity is high, temperature is low, in the noon or afternoon. It's just the other way around. But to get the best results, you need to handle the crop differently depending on the conditions. Thus, today's harvesters contain sensors to capture the influencing parameters and do direct analysis to decide and act immediately to not waste any crop. So while in the past we may have seen already cases where computing happened in the field, that today's term edge computing is focused on using technologies and approaches to reduce the amount of time needed to get from the data collection to the derived changes. And you can see here a list of aspects that can help you achieve quicker processing of data. And specifically, the integration of system and processes indicate that besides having your technology ready, it's also a key aspect that all involved stakeholders need to have a mindset and a culture to make edge computing happen, which means that edge computing is also containing methodology aspects similar to other recent IT changes like DevOps. Yeah, and as Jörg already said, edge applications are driving digital transformation. Adoption of intelligent edge applications is transformative for many industries, such as autonomous vehicles, industrial robots, drones, utilities, just to name a few. And fueling the adoption is also the tremendous growth of industrial IoT devices, which are forecasted to grow up to 24 billion by 2024. But the edge applications have some common requirements. One is more compute power is needed at the device level so that the information can be processed near the source itself. Also, more attention to security, since the edge devices are located far away from the secure parameters of data centers, and distribute edges, devices can quickly lead to a large attack surface of edge devices in aggregate. And lastly, the ability to manage at scale, given the rapid increase of edge devices and the lack of proper management can lead to a high level of operational friction that gets amplified by the large number of these devices.
Yes, and now we've heard, let's say, some very specific examples, as the example with the farmer, as well as some general explanations about edge computing. What they all have in common is that they don't have much in common, because in those different industries they have different requirements. Let's take a look at a few of them. So let's start from the left side. In the automotive industry, there is the main focus is on security, because security guarantees safety, safety for the car itself, for the passenger inside of the car, as well as the surroundings, so the people outside of the car, which might be more important sometimes. And they have some important real-time requirements, because there are different sensors, and they, within a fraction of a second, they have to identify things, and then the system has to react. Another example, which are the telco companies, they have real-time requirements as well. This is really part of their business, having real-time requirements. But they have some specialties. This special mix of near edge, which means the classical data center or the core network on one hand, and the far edge on the other hand, which could be cell towers, where they have some software installed on bare metal. So this is really completely different. And when talking about completely different, let's talk about retail. They really have completely different requirements. They have most of the time they have less complexity. They don't have real-time requirements, but they have financial auditing requirements, as an example. Auditing. Auditing is something that's very important for healthcare, not in terms of financial auditing, but auditing the healthcare data in general, because data security, again, becomes very important when it comes to healthcare. So Different industries, they have different requirements. Sometimes this is driven technically, and sometimes it's due to governmental regulations.
Okay, thank you for that. And now we want to discuss why SUSE at the edge. Well, because we believe SUSE has not only a portfolio that is fit for purpose at the edge, but that had even in some cases been developed with the edge in mind. What we want to focus on in this session is showing you that our SUSE portfolio provides you with options due to interoperability, an adoptable product set. So depending on where you are in your transformational journey, you can get different options, enhanced security options, and management at scale, with which we believe is very beneficial in most use cases for Edge. Let's start with highlighting those parts of the portfolio that was developed specially to support edge scenarios. One is Slee Micro, that was developed for edge deployments, and also K3S as a lightweight Kubernetes platform. But let's first talk about SUSE Linux, our most adoptable enterprise Linux. So, yeah, can you tell the audience why SUSE Linux is a great choice to use in edge scenarios?
Yes, of course. Well, SUSE has been around since quite a long time. Nevertheless, it's a very good starting point for customers that are, let's say, still very data center centric. We do have different flavors of our SUSE Linux. Starting with Slee Micro, which is a very lightweight Linux, which is a good foundation for container-based workloads. Then going through the SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, which is let's say the full-featured Linux, so an all-purpose Linux. Nevertheless, a good foundation for edge scenarios as well. And thinking of the future, right now we are developing SUSE Alp, which is an adaptive Linux platform where almost everything is containerized, and so it's you can really fit this SUSE Alp, this Linux, to your use case. If you just pick and select the components you need for your specific edge use case.
Okay. And as we just had mentioned a few slides before, the specific of an edge environment is often that you need to manage at scale, as edge scenarios can become very large and distributed, and therefore also need good security tools, as a large distributed environment outside the data center creates a large tech surface, as I just said, and that needs specific security measures. With Rancher and NeuVector, SUSE has two infrastructure tools in our portfolio that helps you to manage and secure your cloud-native edge environments. Rancher can manage the complete life cycle of your containers, and with Edge 2.0 that we introduced Elemental, so now we can even do a secure onboarding of edge devices and update the OS via the Rancher UI. Moreover, with Rancher, you can manage your Kubernetes environment regardless where you deploy your clusters, from the core data center to the cloud to the edge. And Rancher is your centralized management tool that gives you consistent and simple cluster operations, provides policy and user management over all your associated clusters. And with our Rancher Prime offering, you'll get enhanced security through a secure registry for your images and updates. While we're talking about security, as you may know, SUSE has acquired NeuVector in October 2021, a full lifecycle security platform for container management. And with NeuVector, you not only get your four layers of supply chain security for CVEs and compliance, because we scan from image over the pipeline and the registry continuously and also during the runtime. But the unique feature of NeuVector is our ability to prevent zero-days attacks. How do we do this? Well, with NeuVector, we do deep packet inspection of the container-to-container network traffic, and through this visibility, the runtime behavioral inspection of your network traffic up to your application layer, we can decide what is normal and what is unusual behavior. And with our automated zero trust concept, we can alert you and, if you so wish, even block any unwanted behavior. Um, and we, sorry, where is this? And yeah, and I think that also when it comes to management at scale, I think that would be a good line over to the SUSE manager, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Well, although SUSE Manor has been around for quite some time, has been developed for, let's say, traditional systems management, it evolved over time to fit edge use cases as well. And honestly, there is one specific edge use case that's been around with SUSE Manager for quite some time, which is SUSE Manager for retail. Yeah, this is a typical edge scenario. And coming back to the slides at the very beginning, when we were talking about edge scenarios, we wouldn't identify it as edge scenarios, right? We're talking about point of sale systems in shops, and SUSE Manager, this special flavor of SUSE Manager for retail, is able to, let's say, to do the deployment, to do the configuration, the lifecycle management for these point of sale systems. And over time, the whole system evolved to become a real full-blown edge lifecycle management system. So the manager right now is able to serve up to 1 million devices. With SUSE Manager, you can deploy the operating system as well as the edge workload. And once the deployment has been done, the real work begins. So you have to deal with your configuration. As I said before, a lot of industries, the use cases in these industries, they have to deal with security more than anything else. Yeah, compliance, that is the same direction. Um, we have to do the life cycle management. Means we have to keep the system up to date. We have to keep them secure with patches and updates and so on. And that's everything what SUSE Manager can do. And when we're talking about, let's say, up to 1 million devices, you can't do it manually, right? So SUSE Manager helps you to automate all the things I was talking about in advance, right? So the manager helps you to be a master of your edge devices, right? Okay, so let's take a look at it from a different angle. Can you switch to the next one, please?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So this is another view on almost the same topic. The SUSE Edge solution is a framework that consists of several elements that can be tailored to your specific edge computing needs. This is achieved through the modular structure, where we can map direct configurations from simple to complex scenarios. Since we have already taken you through the different products, this slide should just illustrate how our product folio can be combined as a stack, if you wish so. So let's imagine that cloud native applications are already being provided, which are now to be deployed and scaled. In this case, you could start with SUSE Rancher, our Kubernetes management platform. However, if legacy or mission critical apps are still available that cannot simply be containerized using lift and shift, then it makes sense to initially work via the edge infrastructure, possibly with a classic / real-time kernel. There are countless mixed cases in the cloud native transformation journey, and also in the edge area, depending on where you are in this journey, right? So the message here is, despite of you got from SUSE, the stack you get from us, you are not locked in, right? As we have an interoperable solution that works with other Kubernetes and Linux distributions as well, such as Rancher. It works with Neuvector, and it works with SUSE Manager, as explained on the slide before. And again, let's take a look at it at a next one, but this is the last one, angle as well. Let's take a look at the whole scenario. Yeah. So we've seen we have the data center, which could be a classical data center on premises. We could have, let's say, kind of a data center in the public cloud, which what we call cloud native. Depending on your current situation, you could use either SUSE Manager, especially if you're still in your local data center only, or you could use SUSE Rancher, especially if you are already cloud native. And then with either SUSE Rancher and SUSE Manager, you are able to manage the workloads at the edge.
Okay, and now we have been talking a lot about the SUSE portfolio and how it can support your specific use case. But to be fair, with our portfolio alone, you will not be able to solve everything you need for your edge use case. Frankly, no single vendor will be sufficient to create a complete solution. You need hardware, maybe industry PCs, sensors, gateways. You will need additional software to make these IoT devices visible. You might need services specific to your industry. I think you understand where I want to go here. Edge computing is definitely a team sport. So I would like to give you just one example to show that the right partnership and collaboration, we can create valuable offerings for the entire industry. Might be retail, might be telecommunications, automotive, or today's example in manufacturing. As we're in Munich here in SUSECOM, we choose a German example. Germany is the fourth largest country for manufacturing globally, and about almost 60%, so 58.5% of all jobs in Germany are provided by small, medium enterprises called the Mittelstand. And, you know, over 99% of all companies in Germany actually belong to the Mittelstand. Consequently, this is an interesting market, and SUSE has many customers that belong to this market, and especially in the region of, southwest of Germany, where, we actually reside. So together with several other partners, SUSE and Intel have built a consortium called the Industry Fusion Foundation. And this focuses to support these small, medium enterprises called Mittelstand in the metalworking industry. And just to give you an idea of the market sizing, in 2022, just in Germany, we have about 700 businesses in the metalworking industry and a revenue of approximately 143 billion, which is a milliard euro. So, 143,000 millions. And there's a much larger amount of businesses and factories in EMEA. So the Industry Fusion Foundation is a Swiss-based business foundation out of, German and Swiss industry business networks that you can see here on the left-hand side, and the consortium of small and medium-sized businesses, builders, and manufacturers, mostly focused on steel and metal industry. Well, what are the challenges in the manufacturing vertical? This is a industry with very costly equipment that is very heterogeneous. For example, Jesus. Yeah, for example, metal cutting systems and dust extraction systems that need different filters depending what material the suction unit collects. So these different machinery come from different machine manufacturers, and there's no standard digital interface, so no connection between the machineries. However, it would be very beneficial to know what material and how much material have been sucked into the dust extraction system before you actually exchange the filter, as these filters cost around 120,000 euros. Also, the need to run the dust extraction system at full speed might not be necessary if the system would know that only half speed would be sufficient for this production step. So you see, in order to save energy and resources in this industry, the digitization would be very beneficial. So there was a need to get data from these different machinery and create an intelligent exchange because there's a high dependency between components and production environment. Yeah. So the focus lies in the enablement of metal treatment industry trying to enable digital transformation of these manufacturing processes. So the industry fusion is the first cross-vendor open source IoT connectivity solution for smart factories and smart products that creates an interoperable connection between machine, factory, and cloud platform. And easy implementation is central to industry fusion and enables companies of all sizes to intelligently digitize their factories and products and take advantage of a broad industry 4.0 ecosystem. Here we like to emphasize again how important open source is for such scenarios, because open standards and APIs that allow for the interoperability is of utmost importance for such heterogeneous environments. So fully open source, including testing, scaling, and high availability and operation is what, this industry fusion consortium is going through. And yeah, following the demand for future services such as pay-per-use or smart banking and smart logistics, to enable companies that are smaller to actually benefit of these really expensive machinery on one hand, and on the other hand, benefiting those who already have purchased these bigger machinery to have a better utilization and use this as an efficient, more efficiently. So everybody wins to that extent. And this is the architecture that we would like to use or to show you, where you can see where SUSE actually adds OS and Kubernetes as part of the stack. But as I said, the main focus here is that you need many partners and you need the interoperability of the different of the stack to be able to create something specific to this industry. And this is a forward-looking slide. However, it shows you the ecosystem in the open source world that SUSE interacts with to create a cloud-native edge management stack. So SUSE is contributing to create an edge management stack to help your enterprise to tap into edge computing. And we like to highlight here for the focus areas that we were talking about. So management and scale, for example, Fleet is a Rancher feature. Fleet focuses not only on the ability to scale, but it also gives users a high degree of control and visibility to monitor what is installed to the cluster. You want to talk about adaptability, Jörg?
Yeah, adaptability is another big topic, and KubeWarden is another example in that area. KubeWarden is an open source policy engine. And the cool thing with KubeWarden is that you can write the policy as code in the programming language of your choice. Whatever you feel comfortable with and wherever your skill set lie. Yeah, KubeWarden leverages the powers of WebAssembly. If you're unfamiliar with WebAssembly, it's a portable binary execution format. Well, in simple terms, WebAssembly is a compilation target for many programming languages.
Yeah, and another keyword here was interoperability. So ACRI is a project developed by Microsoft and an open source project that allows the use of Kubernetes on the edge by exposing leaf devices such as sensors, cameras, controllers, and micro controller units that produce data and perform actions at the edge. And the last one was security. Again, Neuvector, we talked about it, and KubeWarden. As we explained, the main functionality here is the development as policy as code as a means to another security layer. We also recommend you the session number 1055 about the SUSE Edge roadmap with Larry Morris, Senior Director of Product of the Edge Business Unit, to learn more about this cloud native stack. yeah, and I guess, we hope that this was interesting session for you, and thanks for your attention. Any closing words from your side, Jörg?
Well, nothing, but thank you very much.
Thanks.